Okay, very good evening, everyone. Hello, how is everyone doing? I hope everybody's had a good break as far as Diwali is concerned. I also had a long holiday. What with COVID and all that, I've obviously not had the time to visit home for quite some months, right? I think the last time I was there basically for my wedding only, which is February. So that's almost about 9 to 10 months ago. So ended up going home. Was good to be back in Odisha, but I am back in Lucknow now, and I can sort of get back to the important function of having a lot of these conversations with you guys and so on. Some of the good folks are active on the chat. I see Tanmay. Hi Tanmay, how are you doing? Daksh, very good to see you as well. I hope all of you are also geared up in terms of trying to beat my rank and some of the secret methods, etc., that I used to do, some of the factors that I think went into how I qualified the examination. That's essentially what I will be talking about in two parts, right? So, this, as you can see, of course, is part one of the two-part session, and the second part we will be doing as part of the special classes in on the Unacademy platform and so on. So anyway, let's get started. Let's do a quick introduction. It's been quite a break. Some of you might have forgotten. Let me quickly remind you that I graduated from Hidayatullah National University, of course, but I did get an All India rank 20 in NLSIU Bangalore 2006 entrance, and that's basically including some aspects of the question paper is what I will be talking about today. I'm also a Microsoft Intellectual Property Research Scholar, and I've been working with Amarchand Mangaldas since I graduated for a few years. And of course, now I'm involved in teaching. Most of you are already there on the Telegram group, but those of you who are watching this later on as well, right, please do feel free to join in. That's where I take my suggestions and we inform you about the classes, etc., and so on. And those of you who've been enjoying my lectures and are taking up any of the subscriptions, please do remember to use the code BABE10, right, to get an additional 10% discount. All of you, I am sure, are already aware of the various unique features of the Unacademy platform. Soham, hi, good evening, Soham. Anadi, very good evening. Hello, good to see all of you. A little more activity I see on the chat box today. Always good to see, always good to see. So the various features, including, I think my personal favorite is the raise a hand feature that you can see here, which is a little unique, and it's been, I think, for the first time. We do have some interesting batches that are coming up very soon. Very soon. That is day after tomorrow. We are starting with the Rankers Batch 2.0, which is the 2-year comprehensive batch for CLAT 2023. We do have also Legalicious, which is the 1-year comprehensive batch for CLAT 2022, which is also starting day after tomorrow. And of course, Lawscape, which is also the comprehensive batch for CLAT 2022, which of course has started off today, right? Some of the very well-known faces are going to be taking up all of your classes. So please do see which one suits you the best. And please do remember to join in. We do have the live quiz feature, which continues to be active for all of you. And with that, I do want to get started very quickly, right? Parivartan Kumari. Hi, Parivartan. How are you? Good to see you. Good to see all of you. Okay. So I think the first thing that I usually, people also ask me very regularly this question, and that's why I want to start off with, I think, the biggest change, or rather the seesaw that we've seen over the past 2-3 years, even before the COVID madness took control of everything. We definitely did have a couple of experiments with online examinations. And during COVID, again, we had an online examination. And this time we had, of course, and offline examination, right? So there is a major aspect of the offline examination and how it's different. Most of you are preparing on online platforms, and it makes sense right now. Okay, obviously it makes perfect sense right now. You can't even step out of your houses, and with the access to technology only getting better and better, it is, I think, become very convenient also that you can have the best of educators and the best of faculty members, sitting right at the comfort of your house. But if the CLAT exam is going to be an offline exam and your mocks are going to be only online, right? There is something that you are obviously missing out on. So first things first, what I would recommend to all of you is when you're giving all of these mocks online, at least 50%, right? At least 50%, at least 50% of your mocks, take a printout, okay? Print it out. Take a printout. You can download an OMR from pretty much anywhere, easily available on the internet. Just download any OMR which has about 150 to 200 questions, right? At least 50% of the mocks, right? Of course, it doesn't make sense to like do all the mocks offline, because like I said, it's quite a bit of a seesaw also, which means it is also very possible that tomorrow the CLAT committee might as well, there's very little chance, okay, that's very, very little chance, but the CLAT committee might say, हम वापस online paper करेंगे, right? And it'll be just, I don't know, the kind of crazy stuff that these people have been doing consistently. So as of now, it seems it is going to be an offline examination, which means at least 50% आपको क्या करना चाहिए? Download a copy of the mock examination. Take a copy of any OMR, right? Print out like 50, 100 of those OMRs. कितना एक रुपए में print तो हो ही जाएगा ना? तो print करके आप लोग घर पे रखिए, right? And start doing on the OMR. The first thing that you will notice, right, is कि online exam में you're actually choosing which section to start, right? You have all 5 options and you click on legal section, you click on logical section or whatever, and you just start doing whatever your favorite section is. The moment you go to online, shift to offline, you'll see कि physical में question number 1 ही पहले आएगा. Now if you're looking for sections, right, if you start looking for sections and start looking for the specific question number, there's a lot of mismatch that can happen, right? आंसर भी यहाँ पर सिर्फ क्लिक नहीं करना है जो आप ऑनलाइन में करते हैं, यहाँ पर सिर्फ क्लिक नहीं करना है. What is it that you have to do? What you will have to do in this situation is you'll have to actually do the shading also, right? And the moment you start doing OMRs, you will notice these problems. कि question number 36 से मैंने शुरू किया है, अब OMR में 36 की जगह 37 shade हो गया है when I wanted to mark the answer. And this is a this is more frequent a problem than you might think. You won't be the first one who's facing this crazy problem, right? So please make sure that you are addressing that concern as quickly as possible. And the way to do that, right, is step 1, please give 50% of your mocks offline. Okay, that's first thing. Second, therefore, what I always suggest is the very popular question of which section to start, right? Let me look at the chat box and see if there are okay, Daksh has a question. Sorry Daksh, मैं थोड़ा सा बोलता रह गया. Sir, honestly, I'm not able to give mock tests and I'm very afraid now. More than half a day school is taking and it's very hectic. What to do? Well, I mean, to be honest, Daksh, while I completely not only sympathize, I think I empathize also. All of you know the difference between sympathy and empathy. No, English classes में आपने discuss किया होगा. Sympathy, empathy क्या है? While we are at it, let's discuss some English also. Sympathy versus empathy. क्या difference है दोनों में? Do you guys know what's the difference between sympathy versus empathy? I actually do empathize with you, yeah, because I've gone through the same process, and So in my first attempt in 2005, I graduated from 12th class, right? Um, so in 2005 also I had gotten a decent rank. I was All India rank 69, yeah. The waiting list 12th tha. And that time there were 57 seats in the general category for NLSIU Bangalore. So I was ranked 69, and ultimately I obviously 12 waiting list NLS Bangalore में clear नहीं होता है. So then and common entrance भी नहीं था, so I had to give the HNLU entrance separately and I qualified. HNLU because I mean that time I had only given NLS properly, and बाकी मुझे लगा कि क्योंकि NLS तो हो ही जाएगा. My arrogance sort of became very costly, and I'm very, very happy to have graduated from HNLU. That's not a problem. So even in 2006, when I got that rank 20, right? Even in that year, I was already doing first year of law school, right? So I was busy with seniors doing some ragging. I was busy with moot courts. I was busy with my examinations of law school. All of those things was anyway happening. So I don't have sympathy. I understand that there's a lot of other things, particularly those of you who are balancing board examinations with your CLAT preparation. I am sure you have some challenges, but it's not an impossible challenge. Okay, coming to it, it's not an impossible kind of a challenge. डरने की तो कोई बात ही नहीं है. Very afraid? Why very afraid? Definitely do mocks, right? What is more important is you have to move on from that whatever fear factor is there, right? ज्यादा से ज्यादा क्या होगा? मॉक में खराब नंबर आएंगे ना. मॉक में खराब नंबर आने से किसी का भी क्लैट का सीट से फर्क नहीं पड़ता है, राइट? You'll figure out what are your weak sections. You'll figure out what is your strength. The more mocks you give, right? एक ही बार एग्जाम देके समझ में भी नहीं आता है. So by the time you give like 5-6 mocks, you'll realize which one is actually your weakness, which one is actually your strength. So you can prioritize a little bit easier. You can plan your day just a little extra, and all of that planning and all of that liberty to be able to, the freedom to be able to prioritize what to study and what not to study, it actually overall goes into your overall improvement or overall getting better marks and so on and so forth. So therefore I would always suggest, certainly don't worry about you might score low marks या पढ़ाई के लिए time नहीं मिल रहा है, वो सब अपने आप होगा. And imagine if you get really good scores, that gives you such a huge confidence boost कि वो अपने आप रात को आप 1 घंटा कम सोएंगे, Instagram पे 2 घंटे कम फॉलो करेंगे, टिप टिप परसा पानी को 5 बार नहीं देखेंगे, ज्यादा से ज्यादा 1 बार देखेंगे. It all adds up. So don't worry too much about it. Just get cracking, right? Get starting with your mocks. Start it off for sure. अगर ब्रेक ले रहे हो तो ब्रेक खत्म है, दिवाली वाली खत्म है, अब वापस से एग्जाम देना, राइट? गिव अ मॉक, then I'll not be able to do classes, अभी तक syllabus. So you don't have to give a mock every day, right? What is the frequency with which you guys are giving mocks? What's the frequency currently at this stage? I would suggest one mock, right? One mock per week. That's what I would suggest अभी के लिए. तो maximum इतना काफी है, one mock per week. And if you guys, any of you who are preparing for, this is for 2022 aspirants, right? This is for CLAT 2022. If you're doing 2023, for those of you who are giving it in 2023, then that's one mock in 15 days. Okay, so I mean, so 2 mocks a month or something like that. That should be that should be good enough. Okay. Okay, Tony is also here. Kristan, Tony, hi, how are you? Very good evening. So the sympathy is when we felt pity about someone's problem, empathy is when we felt the pain of someone as if we are in their place. Yeah, that's absolutely correct. Sir, afraid cause पढ़ रहा हूँ and फिर भी God forbid नहीं हुआ तो I don't know how to react then, और मॉक की कम नंबर आए तो फिर लो कॉन्फिडेंस. हाँ, तो मैं वही कह रहा हूँ ना कि कोई बात नहीं, मॉक में थोड़ा कम भी आएगा तो at least it'll give you a much better insight, right? कि कौन सा आपका strength है, कौन सा आपका weakness है, and stuff like that. So don't worry too much about it. Definitely give the mocks, right? You will see your mock scores improve also. So that also does not give, take away your confidence. वो जैसे जैसे marks improve होते रहेंगे, confidence भी बढ़ता रहेगा. सिर्फ हर चीज माइनस में नहीं जाने वाला. डर के आगे जीत है. बहुत सारा माउंटेन ड्यू पहले पीना है, ओके राइट। और उसके बाद तैयारी पे वापस आना है। इंस्टाग्राम बंद कर दिया है, बहुत डिस्टर्ब होता है। आई नो, आई कंप्लीटली एग्री। सो टू कवर critical reasoning, how to cover critical reasoning, I see. So Trisha, I was just actually, I will take you through it in the coming minutes ahead. I do have logical reasoning is, there's a little bit of critical reasoning here, and I think these days there's a bit of critical reasoning even in the English section. Directly, if you look at the English section, there's definitely a bit of critical reasoning there as well. So I'll take you through both of these things. I want to give you a specific breakup of the time as well. But first things first, I definitely want to emphasize very seriously. I want to emphasize with all of you, right, that which section to start with when you're looking at that critical question. I am sure people have given you different suggestions also. You have experimented with different things yourself as well. But what I would always suggest is definitely start from question number 1 and move on from there. There should not be any other plan. Now, why am I saying this? The first reason I already told you is you will waste time, right? You will waste time if you're flipping through sections, right? This is simply a more efficient, purely if you apply deductive logic, this is simply a more efficient system of how to go about offline mocks, in particular, how to actually attack the CLAT question paper. If you're looking at it, you should start with question number 1. Second problem I told you is because OMR may be kai bar, inevitably I have seen hundreds and hundreds of students who have consistently faced this problem कि क्वेश्चन नंबर, कई बार क्या होता है, जैसे क्वेश्चन नंबर 1 किया, फिर 2 किया, फिर 3 को छोड़ दिया है, राइट? I don't want to attempt question number 3 because I'm not sure about the answer for question number 3. फिर क्वेश्चन नंबर 4 किया, फिर 5 किया, फिर 6 नहीं किया है. अब वो 7th की जगह ना 8th वाला मार्क हो गया है, या जो 6 छोड़ा था जब तक सॉल्व किया है immediately went to marking. You will see again कि मैंने गलत क्वेश्चन कोई शेड कर दिया, and this becomes a big problem. You do that with 2 questions, you're pretty much screwed, right? Every single mark, every single shading अलग से -0.25 भी होगा अगर गलत क्वेश्चन का गलत ऑप्शन मार्क हो गया है, right? And you don't get multiple redos, right? There's simply no time कि आप बार बार शेडिंग करने के लिए भी अलग से टाइम है, वो तो है ही नहीं, right? So what you have to make sure is you must start with question number 1, because you will otherwise, at least you will end up wasting 3 to 4 minutes just trying to flip through, choosing the exact question, marking the OMR, फिर वापस question number 1 पे आ रहे हैं. All of that is just 3 minutes to 2 to 3 minutes. That's also priceless, right? अभी अगर आपने mock देना शुरू नहीं किया है तो 3 मिनट लग रहा है कि अरे 3 ही तो मिनट है. I still have 117 minutes, which is too much time for me to finish off the CLAT paper, but that's not true. Okay, the value of 3 minutes, जिन्होंने भी mock कोई भी seriously दिया है, seriously देने का मतलब है कि मैथ्स का सेक्शन छोड़ के मैंने mock दिया था, अभी मैथ्स मैंने I have not prepared, and a lot of people commit this mistake also. Diwali is also over, we are already in November. You should not be in a situation where you are still telling yourself कि मैं अभी भी कुछ सेक्शन छोड़ता हूं और अभी वो भी मैं जनवरी में पढ़ूंगा, फरवरी में पढ़ूंगा. There are no excuses. By now you should be doing the full mock. Even if you score badly, please do it fully, right? So when you do it fully, you will automatically realize that the value of 3 minutes is too much when it comes to the CLAT examination, right? 150 questions, so many passages, right? And you have less than 1 minute per question, approximately 45 to 50 seconds per question, right? 45 to 50 seconds per question, including shading, right? So it's quite a time challenge, to be honest. So if you're saving 2 minutes, if you're saving 3 minutes, it's actually quite priceless. Now, इतना सब कुछ बोलने के बाद भी it is very possible that some of you are so used to starting with a particular section. Some of you really want that confidence thing going for you. So if you really have to select, don't do it, is my first suggestion. But if after all of this also you are deciding कि नहीं मैं तो कोई एक section choose करूंगा, then what to do? Worst case, I really want to highlight, this is worst case, okay? Because ideally this is what you have to do, okay? If you're not doing it, then worst case, please start with your favorite section. Please start with your favorite section. Never ever start with your weakest section. ये mistake तो कभी नहीं करना चाहिए. If you have to start also, please make sure you're starting off with only your favorite section. At least you'll have a little bit of extra confidence. Let's say if maths is your weakest section, right? अब वो पहले ही एग्जाम के स्टार्टिंग में ही आप डिमोरलाइज हो चुके हैं. 15 में से मुझे सिर्फ 6 ही क्वेश्चन आते हैं, right? Now you're doing maths on top of it also mentally. होता ही है. It happens to all of you. It happens to all of you, right? कि पहले एक सेक्शन खत्म कर लिया है, let's say 20 questions I'm done with. Now you mentally calculate, right? कि remaining 100 questions या 130 questions, उसमें से मुझे कितने मार्क्स चाहिए, तो कितना कट ऑफ होगा, ये वो. If I have to score 100 out of 150 and the first 20 questions I have scored 15, that means you have a lot of confidence going, okay, out of the remaining 130 questions I have to score only 85, right? So my ratio sounds better. But if maths is your weakest section, now you are not able to do that mental calculation also. अलग से डबल स्ट्रेस हो रहा है, रेशियो भी नहीं समझ में आ रहा है, मिस भी हो चुका है क्वेश्चन. Don't do that, right? Don't do that. Definitely start with your favorite section always. If you have to choose, then start with your favorite section and go in chronological order. Second favorite, third favorite, and your weakest section should be the last section that you attack. If not, ideally always start with question number 1, okay? तो बहुत important है ये चीज, guys. I strongly suggest you guys please practice this in your mocks, right? Try this, at least try in 3 mocks. At least try in 3 mocks. If you still don't see any results, then go back to your old system. But at least 3 mocks में ये definitely आप try करने की कोशिश करिए. See if this works for you. I really believe that this is a much better system, right? And that's something that has consistently at least helped me, right, when I was giving the exams and so on. So please do make sure you give it a shot, and only then. Now, even if you're starting with whatever section, there are some other important things to keep at the back of your mind. When you are preparing, okay, Shambhavi has a question. First of all, good evening, Shambhavi. How are you? Shambhavi Pandey. Sir, miscellaneous law वाले passages हो नहीं पाते हैं. So are you not used to like new areas? So, this is also something I wanted to, in fact, in today's session only, I will be addressing this particular concern. This one, you have to start identifying areas. Shambhavi, this is the area where, this is the part of today's session where I will be talking about how to look at, miscellaneous areas. क्योंकि constitution तो चलो सब लोग ही आप लोग पढ़ के जाएंगे. I am pretty confident that my students at least will, the moment they see a popular area of the law which we have discussed and so on, I am pretty confident that you will be able to kind of comfortably go through those portions. Yes, but miscellaneous areas, right? How to identify those areas that need a little bit of extra research, and stuff like that. That's something that I will, of course, be discussing with you guys. Just give me a few minutes. I definitely want to address it. But first things first. It is very important that you do the time management. Okay, don't go into your mocks, don't go into your actual examination without a sectional time frame. See, and by the time you've given 50 plus mocks, 50 मॉक जब तक आप देंगे ना, you'll get that biologically, हाँ, mentally. ये नहीं कि आपको बार बार घड़ी देखना पड़ेगा, ओके इतना मिनट हो गया, इतना मिनट हो गया. आई एम नॉट सेइंग like sit with a stopwatch. You will automatically get a hang of it. जैसे ही 20-22 मिनट हो जाएगा ना, आपको अपने आप लगने लगेगा, ओके नाउ आई थिंक आई एम टेकिंग more time than what I should be in the English section, right? So you can, it just happens, it comes very naturally. 10 mocks, 15 mocks, 20 mocks, 40 mocks, वो धीरे धीरे this is, please understand at a philosophical level, please understand this, बहुत important, please understand this, that this is an examination which is very, 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 very consistency based preparation. This is an examination which requires acquiring of skills. हाँ, मेहनत भी चाहिए, मैं नहीं कह रहा हूँ, it's not that you don't have to do any labor. Yes, of course, you have to read GK, you have to improve your English, but most of the question paper is simply about acquiring certain skills. The more that you can improve on your reading speed, right? The more that you can, perfect your OMR marking skills. The more that you can be used to कि मैं question number 1 से ही शुरू करूँगा. These little things, overall it becomes like 10 to 12 minutes of extra time compared to somebody who is doing it arbitrarily. And that person who is doing arbitrarily is not going to get a top 100 rank. I promise you, 75,000 people are going to give this examination. You want to be in the top 0.1%, that's 70, right? Top 1% भी 700 rank होता है, right? Top 0.2% is about 1400 rank, right? 1000, so top 2% is 1400, right? So rank 140 भी है, top 150 भी देख लेते हैं, तो that's 0.2%, right? So it's a competitive paper, and I promise you कि 0.2% लोग तो उतना मेहनत कर ही लेंगे, उतना स्ट्रैटेजी और उतना सब कुछ करके ही वो जाते ही हैं, 50 नहीं 80 मॉक देते हैं, right? So you need to be at that level. It requires a little bit of hard work, yes, but all of that hard work is required so that धीरे धीरे वो स्किल इंप्रूव होता रहेगा. क्या होगा कि 20 मिनट बाद आपको खुद ही लगेगा कि अरे मेरा इंग्लिश सेक्शन का तो टाइम अब खत्म हो रहा है. That is where I'm heading towards. That I'm probably now running short of time. I need to improve my speed. I need to increase my speed, read a little faster. I'm not saying I have panic attacks in the middle of the examination. Never helps, but you will get used to it, right? You will definitely get used to it. So this is the time frame that you should have. This is the time frame that you should have. When I say minimum 20 minutes, if you can do it faster than that, good. But this second wala jo pura column hai, 24 minutes, 12 minutes, 16 minutes, 28 minutes and 35 minutes. This upper limit of all the sections, right? This upper limit of all the sections is the most important thing that you should always remember. Don't take more than 24-25 minutes in the English section, right? Don't take more than 12 to 15 minutes, right? More than 12 minutes तो होना नहीं चाहिए, right? But अब क्योंकि passage और ये वो है, maybe it can go a little overboard. By the way, if you use all the upper limits, you will reach about 20 plus 16 is how much? 30, 40, 52, 62, 72, 80, 115 minutes, right? This is 115 minutes is the upper limit here, okay? 115 minutes is the upper limit, okay? Now, do you have to finish the paper in 115 minutes? नहीं, 120 मिनट है ना, बाकी 5 मिनट जो है ना, एक्स्ट्रा 5 मिनट जो बचा है, this is for OMR shading, because that also will kill your time, okay? 1 minute per section, 1.5 मिनट per section उतना लग ही जाता है OMR का shading करने में. Because what's the time frame? Those of you who've done it probably can take a guess, but those of you who have not done it also, just to put that in perspective, if you're taking approximately 3 to 5 seconds to do shading of one OMR, right? 3 सेकंड 2-3 सेकंड तो लगता ही लगता है, कुछ कुछ में थोड़ा आगे पीछे हो जाएगा, कुछ कुछ में थोड़ा ढूंढ भी रहे हैं उसमें एग्जैक्ट कहाँ गया, ये हुआ वो हुआ, राइट? So it's going to take you approximately 3 to 5 seconds. If you attempt 100 plus questions, let's say if we take even 3 seconds, 3 seconds भी लेंगे and 100 attempts लेंगे, I'm sure you guys will attempt more than 100, right? 100 plus ही होगा. This is already 5 minutes, right? Because 300 seconds is basically 5 minutes. So you do need 5 minutes for OMR shading, and that's why these upper limits are very, very important. These upper limits are very, very important. The ideal plan should be कि चलो मेरा English बहुत अच्छा है, तो English I will finish off in 20 minutes. Why will I take 24 minutes? I will not take 24 minutes. Okay? GK मेरा थोड़ा weak है, फिर भी GK में time तो क्या waste होना है? Either ways I can finish it off in 12 minutes, right? Maths is my weak section, so now maths में I'll take 16 minutes, probably even 17 minutes. Let's say, right? Logic में मेरा weak है, so logic में I've taken 30 minutes. But legal मेरा strong है, so I finished it off in 31 minutes, right? Or even 33 minutes. तब भी चलेगा, and you'll still be able to finish it off in 115 minutes. Okay? So upper limit is not a hard upper limit. What I just mean is कि आपका कौन सा strength है, आपका कौन सा weakness है, उस हिसाब से आप थोड़ा plus minus करिए. But अगर आपको कहीं भी extra time चाहिए, you will need to cut time in some of the other areas, right? अगर maths में 2 मिनट extra चाहिए, तो फिर कहीं ना कहीं 2 मिनट faster भी करना पड़ेगा, right? और GK में faster का मत ढूंढिए. It's just difficult because if you're attempting 20 plus questions, 25 questions, say 30 questions, right? तो वो shade करने में भी बहुत सारा time लग जाएगा, right? Okay, Soham has a very important question. I'm so sorry कि मैं खुद ही अपने आप में बताने वाला था, but Soham ने पहले पूछ लिया है. That's a very important question. Sir, do we have to fill the OMR sheet after completing the whole paper? So how should you really go about it? So what I used to do, right? And please remember, मेरा passage based questions नहीं होते थे. My whole question paper was obviously not passage based, it was more objective section and so on. But reading comprehension, for example, अब reading comprehension में अगर 5 question थे, RC तो मेरे टाइम भी आते ही थे. What I would do is एक पैसेज खत्म करके उस पैसेज के जो 4-5 क्वेश्चन है, 6 क्वेश्चन है, वो 6 को मार्क करके वापस OMR साइड में रख देता था, राइट? See, if you mark the OMR after every question, that also takes too much time, right? Like because हर क्वेश्चन के बाद एक मेंटल ब्रेक भी हो रहा है कि अब OMR वापस लाओ, शेड करो, फिर वापस रखो. You're in a certain flow, right? You're in a certain flow and you don't want to break that flow also. But once you're done with one passage, उसके बाद by default flow break होना ही है क्योंकि अब पूरा नए passage में जाना है, right? So it's much better that you take that time. It's very manual labor work. अलग से उसमें दिमाग नहीं लगाना है, mental break भी हो गया, right? You get a decent breathing space of about whatever, approximately let's say 10 seconds, 15 seconds. जो भी है, कुछ एक छोटा सा, जितना भी छोटा हो, even that small break will increase your efficiency as well, right? So इनमें passage खत्म करते ही अगला passage पढ़ना शुरू करो, it starts taking a burden on you, right? By the time you're on your 7th passage, consecutively, it's going to start eating up your brain. There's quite a bit of काफी heavy feeling आने लगती है. So वो 10-10 सेकंड का जो ब्रेक है ना हर पैसेज के बाद, it works quite well, right? So I think that's the most romantic way of really approaching and really filling up that 10 seconds. अब सिर्फ 10 seconds, 15 सेकंड हम पूरा वेस्ट भी तो नहीं कर रहे हैं ना, क्योंकि हमें शेडिंग तो करना ही था. तो वो हर पैसेज के बाद mark your, let's say you're attempting 4 questions out of 5 questions, just mark those 4 questions. After that one passage, you had a decent breather also, take a couple of deep breaths. then start attacking passage number 2, right? And then same process. So don't finish the whole paper. It will become too much, I think, kind of starts becoming a problem as well, right? Rushikesh. Hi, Rushikesh. Good evening. So I think it is not right question I'm asking for. Is there 3 years LLB course at Nalsar? I mean, a question can never be wrong, Rushikesh. Don't worry, don't worry. Question can never be wrong. But is there a 3 years program? I think Nalsar is just about to start it. I was just reading somewhere in the newspapers that Nalsar is, I think Nalsar as well as NLS, probably Nalsar 3 years LLB. They're just starting this year. Are they doing that? Tutors are from Law, Nalsar. Okay, not yet. Not yet. Okay, so my mistake. I thought I read it somewhere that they're just about to start or something, but apparently not. I definitely जो 5 सेकंड में अभी जो चेक किया उसमें तो मुझे नहीं मिल रहा है. So NLS will start it for 2022. Okay, so yeah, I was just confused. Nalsar था कि NLS था. So maybe NLS is starting it. Let me just do a quick check for that as well. Is NLSIU doing a 3-year LLB? Is NLS doing a 3-year LLB? Yes, NLS is definitely doing it. Shambhavi, thank you so much. Shambhavi with the awesome assist there, right? Yes, Rushikesh. So yeah, not Nalsar, but NLS Bangalore. Okay. Daksh, sir, as I will be going to start with the mocks this Sunday, so I attend all sections, or should I start with 1 or 2 sections? No, all sections. Definitely all sections. Definitely all sections, Daksh, and anybody else who has this question at the back of their mind कि जब हम mock करने जा रहे हैं, तो should I be doing all the sections? Or should I be starting off with 2 of my favorite sections or 3 of my favorites? It doesn't matter. Even if you're scoring 0 in the math section, for example, I want you guys to look at the questions, torture yourself, suffer through that pain, but sit there for the 2 full hours and try to solve the questions. 2 घंटे हैं, पूरे 120 मिनट मेहनत जरूर होनी चाहिए, right? वरना क्या होगा कि you will be basically, अरे मैथ्स तो मैं भी कर ही नहीं रहा हूँ. So you're not actually sitting through the full, so you will not feel the full pressure of the examination. Physical challenge भी है, एक mental challenge भी है. It's not just that कि मुझे questions करना आता है, तो कल अगर मुझे 500 question दे दिया जाएगा, I'm just giving you an, obviously 500 नहीं देंगे. But you know, even if I can solve questions, tomorrow if there are 500 questions given to me, there is a physical challenge, right? Can I concentrate with that same speed and the same rigor for 500 questions? That's also a challenge, right? So if you're not doing 150 questions, if you're not used to sitting for 2 hours, actual exam में वो भी एक problem होने लगेगा, right? तो जितना आप कोशिश करें कि पूरे 2 घंटे का एक concentrate करने की ability, right? 2 घंटे तक concentrate करने की ability भी develop करना है, right? So which is why definitely give the full paper. Don't skip through questions. Don't complete your paper before 2 hours. Sit there, try to solve. If you have 5 minutes left, if you have 10 minutes left, if you have finished off everything else in 90 minutes, but 2 sections मुझे बिल्कुल नहीं आता है, तो कोई बात नहीं. You have 30 minutes to do at least 2 questions. Maybe you will be able to solve. Who knows? We don't know, but we'll sure as hell try and find out what you can do with those extra minutes that you have remaining. So give the whole paper for sure, right? So in ALET, what will we do? There is no passage. Yes. So that's also an interesting perspective. So in ALET also, what I would usually do, I mean, like what I did for when I was in for the NLS entrance and so on, I used to do it 5 to 10 questions. You start getting a feel yourself कि कब मुझे एक mental break चाहिए. इसीलिए मैं वो deep में जाके, that is why I talked about it in so much detail, that there is always a point where your brain, or you know, you get that feeling कि अब यार ये अब, you know, I want to breathe, okay, I want to take a break. Obviously you can't take a proper break, उसके लिए तो time नहीं है. NLS ALET तो anyway it's a 1.5 hour or 2 hours, whatever, either ways. You don't really have time to stand up, breathe or anything like that, right? But वो जैसे ही वो वाली feeling आएगी ना, that's when you take out your OMR and mark like 5-7 questions या 10 questions. जब भी आपको mentally थोड़ा सा लगने लगा कि okay, now is the time, I need a break. So then it becomes your 15 seconds break, right? So again, that's something that CLAT में तो it's easier to structure it because हर passage के बाद एक logical choice बन गया that that's what I should do. In the non CLAT question papers, right? Very good that you asked me so. In the non CLAT question papers, मैं suggest करूँगा that you wait for that feeling. आता है feeling. I'm sure all of you have gone through this experience. If you have not gone through that experience, that means you guys have not been giving enough marks, right? वो होता है कुछ क्वेश्चंस के बाद कुछ सम एक हो सकता है दो ही क्वेश्चन के बाद भी कभी कभी बिकॉज कुछ बहुत टफ क्वेश्चन था, कुछ ओवर एक्सर्ट कर लिया मैंने. whenever you get that feeling, that's when you take out your OMR and do some labor work जिसमें मेंटल एनर्जी की अब जरूरत नहीं है, माइंड को भी थोड़ा सा 10 सेकंड का ब्रेक मिल गया, राइट? आई होप दैट्स हेल्पफुल, सोहम. And those of you who've not tried this, try to look for those feelings in your mind as well. It happens, it will always keep on happening, right? बस जैसे ही वो आए आइडेंटिफाई करके तुरंत OMR निकाल लेना है उसी मोमेंट पे, राइट? ओके, यस सर. हाँ, पता था मुझे, होता तो है ही. मैंने भी काफी मॉक्स और ये सब दिया है ना, अभी भी देता ही हूँ. सो लाइक द क्लैट क्वेश्चन पेपर कम्स आउट, आप लोग तो एग्जाम दे के आ जाते हैं, उसके बाद मुझे भी सॉल्व करना ही होता है, अदरवाइज हाउ डू आई टेक माई क्लासेस? How do we come out with an analysis or anything like that, right? So I have to solve it, and there's always, of course, I don't have the same time pressure that you guys have, but I also have some time pressure, right? We have to come out with the analysis very quickly, और error free भी होना ही चाहिए. Obviously मैं भी गलत आंसर बताने लगूंगा तो क्या ही पॉइंट बचेगा, नहीं? So yeah, but always there is that feeling, and when there is that feeling, that's when you need to take a breather. Okay. When will we be able to finish legal? Daksh, I think we should be done with our whole syllabus before Republic Day. Ideally, that's my plan. कि रिपब्लिक डे पे कुछ जो भी भारत सरकार कहेगी और जो भी बजट उसके बाद आएगा, वो सब चीजें हम सिर्फ नई बातें पढ़ेंगे, right? Because obviously there's a lot to revise as well, and there's always current affairs is obviously an unending, unlimited supply of everything, right? Budget itself is obviously a 2-day discussion for sure. At least 2 to 3 sessions are going to be required. I will be taking you through the important schemes. I will also be discussing economics. Obviously, I'm a corporate lawyer, so economics is by default an area of interest for me. So I'll be taking you through the budget important schemes, how to understand GDP, GNP, per capita income, fiscal deficit, current account deficit, and so on. Even cryptocurrency these days, probably, I don't know what, with Shiba Inu also climbing the charts, and Dogecoin and Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solano, ये सब तो है ही हैं. We've still not introduced any actual legal regulation as far as crypto is concerned, but I believe before your CLAT exam, probably some of the other regulations should come out, and if that regulation comes out, it's going to have huge consequences, not only in the business community or in the crypto world or whatever, but also in the CLAT examination, right? Because it's an important legal change or a legal development that is going to happen, right? So legal GK कैसे करें? CLAT throws surprises every year. Shambhavi, बस अभी वहीं पर ही आ रहे हैं. Just want to take a moment to inform all of you. I am going to continue with part 2 of this session tomorrow evening, right? Tomorrow evening, this will be on the Unacademy platform. This is not going to be on YouTube. This is going to be on the Unacademy platform. This is part of our special classes. This is where I will continue with part 2. So please do remember to join me. And of course, day after tomorrow also, I'm doing a past year paper practice session, right? To at least with a special focus on the new pattern. And that's something that I will definitely be recommending to all of you, that you guys should definitely mark your calendars for tomorrow evening, where we will continue this session as well, and day after tomorrow. But we are not done. We are not done with today's session as well, right? Identifying areas. This is, I think, एक होता है कि आपने कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन पढ़ लिया, कॉन्ट्रैक्ट पढ़ लिया, क्रिमिनल लॉ देख लिया, all the key areas, important areas that you liked and so on, you're prepared. But what, for example, Shambhavi is asking that CLAT throws surprises, which means that it is very important that you should be able to identify, when you are preparing, when you're reading newspapers and going through these various areas, when you're seeing some important news item or a recent current affairs development or anything like that, how are you going to be attacking those things? अब लीगल न्यूज बहुत सारा है, there's a lot of legal news. रोज सुबह सुप्रीम कोर्ट का कोई ना कोई जजमेंट आता है, रोज सुबह आरबीआई भी कुछ अपना गाइडलाइंस इशू करता है, रोज सुबह सेबी अपने कुछ गाइडलाइंस इशू करता है. एवरी डे, राइट, every day there is something new, that is of course continuing to happen, that we will have to see, and this and that, all of this keeps happening. How do we differentiate between what is a very important area and what is not a very important area? Basically कोई भी न्यूज पेज 1 तक अगर पहुंच गया है, page 1 of newspapers, any news which has, whether it is legal news or non-legal news, particularly legal news, any legal news जो पेज 1 पे पहुंच चुका है in any national newspaper, right, that is definitely something जहां पर हमें कुछ ना कुछ, right, हमें कुछ ना कुछ extra definitely पढ़ना चाहिए, right, we should be definitely reading up something or the other about it. For example, Citizenship Amendment Act pass हुआ. On day one, it was not on page 1, right? On day 1, it was not on page 1. But when protests happened, Shaheen Bagh happened, this, that happened, a lot of people reacted, then it became page 1 news. So day 1 pe, maybe I didn't have to read the Citizenship Amendment Act with extra research. But when it became such a prominent news item, now I have to read the Citizenship Amendment Act in a lot of detail, right? If there is the farm bills that have happened, again, of course, एक basic reading तो कुछ हुआ है तो basic reading तो मुझे करना है. But the moment it reaches page 1, right, when सिंघू बॉर्डर पे लोग प्रोटेस्ट कर रहे हैं, ये हो रहा है, वो हो रहा है, इतना सब कुछ जब हो गया, the moment इतना सब कुछ हो गया, by default again it is something that we also, right, it is something that we also have to keep on looking at, that we have to do some additional research and try to find out what is this, what is that, and so on, right? So that's how I would recommend that you start identifying. पेज 5 का न्यूज होगा, 10 का न्यूज होगा, नहीं फर्क पड़ता, बट जैसे ही वो पेज 1 पे पहुंच गया, राइट, एंड दिस इज व्हाट आई ऑफ कोर्स मीन इज दिस इज ऑल नॉन पॉलिटिकल न्यूज. ओके, नॉन पॉलिटिकल का क्या मतलब है? अभी उत्तर प्रदेश में चुनाव है तो राहुल ने नरेंद्र मोदी के बारे में क्या बोला, अखिलेश यादव ने क्या बोला, किसने क्या बोला, वो पॉइंट नहीं है. लॉ क्या था, राइट, व्हाट इज द एक्चुअल लॉ, दैट्स समथिंग वेयर. Another very important secret factor, I think, is that there is, of course, a certain degree of luck, right? There is a certain degree of luck. For example, when I was preparing for the NLS entrance, out of sheer luck, that time there was this stamp scam और ये सब हुआ था. I'm forgetting his name. Abdul Karim Telgi, right? Abdul Karim Telgi, and उसका stamp का बहुत बड़ा सा scam था. एंड उससे रिलेटेड हवाला ट्रांजैक्शंस और ये सब का था. लाइक राइट नाउ यू आर रीडिंग अबाउट पैंडोरा पेपर्स एंड यू आर रीडिंग अबाउट पनामा पेपर्स, बट नोबडी रियली अंडरस्टैंड्स एग्जैक्टली व्हाट दोज पेपर्स आर. बस इतना ही समझ में आ रहा है कि अच्छा अमिताभ बच्चन भी इन्वॉल्व था, अमिताभ बच्चन ने कुछ फॉरेन में पैसे रखे हैं. ओके, ऑफ कोर्स द इशू इज नॉट एज सिंपल एज दैट वन लाइन, राइट. अच्छा, ये भी चोर है, ये इतना थोड़ी डिस्कशन हो रहा है. डिस्कशन इज ऑब्वियसली इन अ लिटिल मोर डिटेल, right? At least what's the accusation भी हम देखने जाएं तो there's a little bit of technicality that is involved. So now I was staying with a friend of mine. His friend's father was a banker, and one day over dinner, right? So this is not something that I was preparing for, because newspapers may be पैनामा पेपर्स का एग्जैक्ट कॉम्प्लिकेशन क्या है, लीगल न्यूज क्या है, व्हाट लॉ इज बीइंग वायलेटेड, ये इतना डिटेल में नहीं डिस्कशन होता है, राइट? वी नेवर डिस्कस इन सो मच डिटेल, बट आई वाज जस्ट सिटिंग देयर विद हिज एंड ही एक्सप्लेन्ड द होल कॉन्सेप्ट ऑफ हवाला. एंड हवाला केम एज अ 2.5 मार्क्स का क्वेश्चन पेपर में, 2.5 मार्क्स का शॉर्ट नोट ऑन हवाला इन एनएलएस 2006 क्वेश्चन पेपर में आया था. अब दोस्त जब 2.5 मार्क का ही शॉर्ट नोट आ गया, एंड like I said, even if I was not preparing, there was so much discussion that I had on the dinner table, I was able to answer that question. I'm pretty sure I scored at least 2 marks or 2.25 marks in the descriptive section of that particular question paper. Yeah, 1.5 का था I think, और 1.25 के करीब मेरे marks तो आए ही होंगे. I think that was just plain simple luck, because most of the country, I believe, really probably did not answer that question as well as I did. Not because I was really preparing for it, but simply being lucky that somebody actually explained all of this to me in detail over over dinner. So accordingly थोड़ा बहुत तो luck का भी factor होगा, but more importantly obviously preparation is more important, क्योंकि उसी 1.5 मार्क की वजह से सब कुछ तो नहीं हो सकता. हाँ, रैंक 35 की जगह मेरा रैंक 20 आ गया. एक और इस टाइप का लक का क्वेश्चन आता तो रैंक 20 की जगह टॉप 10 में हो जाता, और समथिंग एल्स वुड हैव हैपेंड. बट यस, देयर इज अ लिटिल बिट ऑफ लक, एंड व्हाट आई विल कंटिन्यू विद टुमारो, guys, please do join in. This is the example जिसमें I told you there was a short note, right? So which means NLS Bangalore entrance that time, there was 125 objective questions and there was 75 marks of subjective. Okay, जब मैं एग्जाम दे रहा था in 2006. So this is 2006 NLS. Okay, so this subjective section, obviously we had to do a separate kind of preparation for subjective section as well. Right now you have 150 objective questions, but I believe that we have gone back to the subjective section. Even if you don't have to write descriptive answers, preparation karne ke liye now there is a big change in the preparation process also. What kind of details should you be looking at? ये एक important चीज है जो जब हम prepare कर रहे थे सब्जेक्टिव सेक्शन के लिए, डिस्क्रिप्टिव सेक्शन के लिए, जिस टाइप का प्रिपरेशन की जरूरत पड़ती थी, आई थिंक विद द न्यू पैटर्न, राइट, द 2020 पैटर्न, राइट, is the new pattern, which is as much as the old pattern. This is basically the old pattern only. Old pattern preparation wise, अगर मैं कहूँ तो preparation wise 2009 से पहले, तो 2005, 6, 7, right, इसमें जो descriptive section आता था, I believe the preparation is very similar to the kind of preparation that you need to do now. So we had 2009 तक NLS में descriptive section आता था, right? तो उसके लिए हम अलग से तैयारी करते थे. उसी टाइप की तैयारी, very similar kind of preparation is what you will need to do now that we've had a pattern change till 2019. So बीच में there was a 10-year period from 2008 to 2019. 10 क्या 11 years. That 11-12 years I think completely different pattern, but we've gone back. And there's this is what I will be discussing tomorrow, right? How to adapt to this whole change, right? What is the preparation change that is going to happen? That is something we will discuss tomorrow evening. Like I told you, tomorrow evening at 9:30 p.m. guys. Please do remember to join in that time on the Unacademy platform itself. That's where this discussion will continue. In the meanwhile, please do remember to use my code DAVE10. If you're taking up any of the subscriptions, please do remember to subscribe and hit the bell icon. Have a lovely evening ahead of you, everyone, and I will see you guys tomorrow evening. Thank you very, very much. Bye bye, everyone. Good night once again.